howdy do, East Alabama to West Georgia. Dr. Don with you in Dr. Don's weather page, the Shepherd Weather Center, as we get ready to talk about not snow, I'll tell you that much. We have tropical trouble brewing down in the Gulf of Mexico. We've got a storm system that is going to make landfall about this time tomorrow evening, about 24 hours from now, down around southern Louisiana, somewhere down around Cameron, Louisiana. And then Zeta is going to turn to the northeast and move across Mississippi, southern Mississippi, Alabama, and up across North Georgia. It's going to bring some weather our way. So that's why we are here this evening to talk to you. And so I just want to welcome you all in. I want to remind you before we get started, when we start talking about all of this mess that's coming our way, don't forget to comment in the comment section. Let us know where you are watching from. If you don't comment, I don't necessarily know that you have been hanging with us. So be sure that you make a comment. Tell us where you're watching from. Or if you have a question or a comment or a concern, please post it down there. And coming up in just a few moments, I'll go back and take a look at some of the comments, and we'll answer your questions. It's just amazing to me. 2020. And as most of you know, I live in the North Georgia mountains. I said mountains. And we're under a tropical storm watch in the North Georgia mountains. I mean, that's just bizarre. Did happen back during Hurricane Irma several years ago. But it hasn't happened very often. Now, we've seen inland tropical storm watches and warnings in East Alabama and West Georgia several times, but that's a rarity there as well. It's just some strange times that we live in. Hey, before I get into the forecast, don't forget to, I want to invite you to support what we do here at Dr. Don's weather page by going to paypal.me/Dr. Don WX. Folks, it is secure. It's very quick. You do not have to have a PayPal account. And you're supporting what we are doing so that we can continue to bring you weather information for East Alabama and West Georgia. You become a partner of what we're doing here at Dr. Don's Weather if you support us. So we ask you to please do that. Again, it's paypal.me/Dr. Don WX. I'll put it in the comments in just a few moments. And you can go to any of our videos on Facebook or YouTube, and that link is at the top of every one of our videos. You can also go over to our website, drdonwx.com. There is a link there that will carry you over to our PayPal link as well. One more time, it's paypal.me/Dr. Don WX. So it is Tuesday, November 27. Not November, it's October 27, 2020. Trying to jump ahead. I'm trying to get rid of 2020. I'm trying to get it out of here. It is now 8:05 p.m., and we are here to talk about a hurricane that is headed our way. So let's go back to the tropics. We have Hurricane Zeta, which is now just north of the Yucatan Peninsula. Zeta is continuing to move off to the northwest. That motion will turn more to the north and then eventually to the northeast as Zeta, or Zeta, tomato, Zeta is the correct pronunciation, as Zeta makes an approach to southern Louisiana, somewhere around Cameron, Louisiana, or between Cameron and Grand Isle. The models keep kind of switching back and forth. The latest model is saying Grand Isle, Louisiana. We'll show you that on the map in just a few moments. Zeta did take a hit when the storm went over the Yucatan Peninsula. It lost a little bit of its strength. Currently at 65 miles per hour, moving northwest at around 12 miles per hour. Now, we do anticipate re-intensification during the overnight hours, and by the time Zeta makes landfall, they're somewhere around the southeastern Louisiana coast. We are thinking probably a Category 1, maybe somewhere around 85 mile per hour winds making landfall. Now, 85 mile per hour winds from a hurricane, you have to understand, that's the maximum wind in those outer feeder bands right there around the eye wall. And all of that doesn't make it to the ground. So if you have maximum sustained winds around 85 miles per hour, you could certainly get a gust up to 85 miles per hour, but it's not going to be sustained at the ground. So we're not anticipating a tremendous amount of wind damage where the hurricane makes landfall. But the problem we have is that the storm is going to get picked up by a low pressure system that's coming across Texas, a frontal boundary, and it's going to catapult that thing off to the northeast, which means it's going to move much further inland than usual before it deteriorates. I'm saying all that to say that we may end up with some tropical storm force winds across central and east Alabama and west Georgia, and even up into northeast Georgia. We could see some tropical storm force winds. Well, now we're talking winds of 35 to 40, maybe occasional gust of 45 miles per hour. That's not going to damage your home, but it can certainly bring down trees, which can damage your home and take out power. So we're going to talk about all of that, show you the timetable as we move forward. So let's take that graphic off, and here's the latest track from the National Hurricane Center as of 4 o'clock this afternoon. We'll have a new update coming in just a few moments, and then we'll get a full update package at 11 o'clock tonight. It'd be 11 o'clock Eastern, 10 o'clock Central, but it's not going to be much different from what you're looking at right here. We get this close, the models are pretty well locked in on what's going to happen. So a 1 p.m. Wednesday afternoon approach to southern Louisiana or southeastern Louisiana. We're thinking landfall somewhere around 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. And then moving right across southern Mississippi, maybe Biloxi would be a good spot to see the eye of this storm, if there is a good spot. And then by 1 a.m. Thursday morning, the storm should be somewhere north of Centronel or north of Mobile over there in southwest Alabama, and then move off to the northeast to a point up to maybe a little bit to the north of Anniston, and then right across northwest Georgia, and then up into Virginia by Friday morning. Now, so if the storm doesn't come directly over your house, that doesn't mean that you're not going to get anything. You understand how these storms work. The worst weather is to the right of the storm. We call that the dirty side, is to the right of the center of circulation. Now, all of East Alabama is going to be on the dirty side of this storm, which means all of the rain, all of the wind, all of the severe weather threat, every bit of that's going to come right across East Alabama and North Georgia Wednesday night into Thursday. A couple of more products I want to show you. This is the spaghetti model. This is what the National Hurricane Center makes their official model from. This is an ensemble of all of the different computer models that the National Hurricane Center uses to make their forecast. And you can see that they're grouped up pretty tight. That's generally a good indication that, that's pretty much where it's going to go. And you see that the storm is going to make it up there into central Alabama and then turn off to the northeast even more and come right across the northern sections of East Alabama. We'll show you a little more in detail in a few moments. As it continues on into Georgia, it's going to move right across maybe the Lake Lanier area. Most of you know where that's at. And then on up into upstate South Carolina and eventually on up into North Carolina. All right, so here's the latest Goes East satellite shot of Hurricane Zeta. And you see that this storm, you can see that it kind of got hit pretty hard when it went across the Yucatan Peninsula and is now moving out over the southern Bay of Campeche. And it's a little ragged looking right now. But look at that huge plume of moisture to the north and to the northeast. That is going to get here well before any actual tropical storm weather makes it into East Alabama or West Georgia. We may see some of that rain tomorrow. As a matter of fact, we've got rain in South Alabama now. Right along the leading edge of it's right along the I-85 corridor just east of Montgomery, and that's moving to the north. We'll show you that on the radar also in just a few moments. Storm Prediction Center convective outlook And this is for tomorrow. We do have a slight risk of severe weather down there along the coastal regions of Alabama and northwest Florida, back over to Mississippi and Louisiana. We have a marginal risk stretching all the way up into the southern reaches of East Alabama, back over to around Montgomery, and then just general scattered thunderstorms beyond that. So that may end up getting pushed a little bit to the north and to the east as we move ahead. I know the graphic says that's Tuesday, but that's not. That is actually Wednesday. Here's the national map in motion, and you can see what's going to happen. We've got the hurricane that makes landfall down there in Louisiana, and then we've got a low-pressure system coming across Texas with a cold front that's going to pick up the storm and just, like I said, slingshot what's left of Zeta off to the northeast. First thing's going to happen, you see that red line come through. That's a warm front. That's what's coming into southern Alabama now. There will be rain along that front as well. And then when the low-pressure system comes across to the east with the trailing cold front, it's going to grab Zeta and push Zeta off to the east and to the northeast. All right, so let's go talk about some severe risk, and we'll start. Hang on a second. Let me get this set up right quick. This is live and in living color, so it takes a second to get things together. All right, so here is the latest severe weather possibility product from the National Weather Service office at Birmingham. That's who controls your watches and warnings for East Alabama. And we'll look at Peachtree City in a few moments for you folks watching us in Georgia. All right, so they've got this colored in with a marginal risk, typically, or generally, I should say, across central Chambers County, back over into Tallapoosa, down into southern Coosa. Then it goes, covers all of Elmore, Autauga, down to Dallas. It gets Montgomery County. It does get Lee County, all points along I-85 and south. Now, again, this is from 7 p.m. Wednesday through 7 a.m. on Thursday morning. This is when the most of the storm will move through East Alabama. I do fully anticipate this graphic to get updated probably later tonight or first thing in the morning, and I would expect it to show all of East Alabama, and we may even see a slight risk of severe weather category drawn in there as well. Now, what does this mean? This means that as the storm comes inland in Mississippi and then starts turning off to the northeast and approaching Alabama, some of those outer feeder bands could spin up some small, weak tornadoes because you get that motion, that curving motion with the storm as it turns. And so that will set up the rotation in some of these thunderstorms, and I fully expect to see some tornado warnings issued during the night Wednesday or maybe even into Thursday morning. I don't think there will be a ton of them. I don't think this is going to be a widespread severe weather event, but hey, all it takes is one tornado in your front yard and you got a problem. So we're going to watch this real close, and yes, I do expect to see some tornado warnings with the thunderstorms capable of producing small spin-up tornadoes. Now, the wind is also going to be an issue. Typically, we don't have much of an issue this far inland from a tropical system from tropical winds themselves. Normally, the problems come from the tornadoes that are spawned. But in this particular case, because Zeta is moving inland so fast, Zeta's not going to have time to deteriorate before it gets up into central and east Alabama and west Georgia. So it's still going to be a tropical storm when it comes across our area. As a matter of fact, it may remain a tropical storm well up into North Georgia, which is pretty amazing. But that's what the forecast is telling us. So you may have tropical winds of 25 to 35 with occasional gusts of 40 to 45 miles per hour. Now, you still get anything over 35 miles per hour, you start knocking down trees. So we could have some tree damage. We could have some power lines coming down because of all of this. And you know what that means. There is a possibility we could have some power outages as well. All right, and we'll show you what we think is going to happen with the power outages in just a bit as well. Let's take a look at the total rainfall amounts expected across Alabama. And again, We've got another, let's see, 1, 2, 3, at least 4 updates, 4 full updates from the Hurricane Center to go before we start really seeing any effects of this. So there's plenty of time for all of this to change, and I wouldn't be surprised if it does. But here's the good part about it moving forward so fast. The rain won't be as bad. I mean, it's going to rain hard, but it won't last for hours and hours and hours because the storm is moving off to the northeast at such a strong clip. We're probably looking at a forward motion of 18 to 25 miles per hour by the time it makes landfall. So that will zip right on through Alabama fairly quick. But here's what we think is going to happen right now. It looks like down in the Auburn-Opelika area, we're talking 1 to 1.5 inches of rain. Then right there across southern Tallapoosa up in the northern Chambers, southern Randolph, probably 1.5 to 2 inches. Northern Elmore, all of Coosa, northwest Tallapoosa, west and northwest Randolph up into Cleburne, all of Clay, and Talladega, we're talking 2 to 3 inches of rain. And then if you go back down there around central and west central Alabama, from about Selma back up to Demopolis, we're looking at 2 to 3 inches on the southern end of that and 3 to 4 up there around Demopolis. You know, that's not flooding rains for us. I mean, we can get, 1 to 2 inches of rain in a good old summer afternoon thunderstorm. But it's going to fall pretty much all in a very quick time period. I mean, we're talking a couple of 2 or 3 hours. So there could be, since we've already had so much rain the last month or so, there could be some localized flooding issues with this storm. But I still think the bigger threat is going to be the tropical storm force winds and the possible small spin-off tornadoes. I think those are the 2 greater threats versus rain from this storm. So let's look at the wind gusts that are expected across the area. Of course, the closer you get to the storm or back to the southwest, the stronger those winds are going to be. We could see some peak wind gusts around 50 miles per hour around Demopolis, maybe back over towards Selma. Even up to around Clanton, down to Prattville. I think we get down to around 40 to 45 mile per hour wind gust in the Montgomery area. Auburn-Opelika, you're probably looking at around 35 mile per hour wind gust. Alexander City, 40 to 45. And then up there around Anniston, 40 to 45 as well. And that puts most of Randolph, all of Clay, most all of Tallapoosa and Coosa in that 45 mile per hour wind gust category. Now, that doesn't mean the wind's going to be sustained at 45 miles per hour. That means gust to 45. Your sustained winds could be somewhere between 20 to 25, maybe 30 from time to time. But that is enough to bring down trees and power lines, so you've got to prepare for that. All right, looking at the Georgia rain expected right quick. If you folks who are watching us up there in northeast Georgia, which is where I am, just below Blairsville, we're looking at 2 to 3 inches on the south end and 3 to 4 inches up there right along the Appalachian chain. Weather systems interact with the mountains in a totally different way than they do everywhere else, and it's most of the time will amplify things because you have upsloping and just all kind of different things that go along with the mountains that it can increase the rain rates. So 3 to 4 inches, pretty common across most of northwest Georgia. Let me look at one thing here. Yeah, there's a little bit of a discrepancy between Peachtree City and Birmingham. If you look down there in west central Georgia, the Carrollton area is at 3 to 4 inches. You go back to Birmingham, and Birmingham's looking like 2 to 3 inches in the same area. So, yeah, 2 to 4, I think would probably be, I think this will fall definitely within 2 to 4 inches of rain across East Alabama and West Georgia by the time things are all said and done. And of course, as you get down into Atlanta Metro 2 to 3, then the further south you go, it really tapers off. Only a trace of rain down there in Dublin is expected. The wind gust in Georgia, pretty much the same as what we're going to see right across central Alabama, 40 to 45. Seems pretty plausible. You get up there in the mountains, maybe 35 to 40 at lower elevations, but if you're up on a mountain ridge like I am, we could see some isolated spots gusting to 50 miles per hour up on the higher ridges of northeast Georgia. All right, so what does that mean? If we get 35 to 45 mile per hour wind gust across East Alabama and even up into Georgia, well, it means that area right there in purple, power outages could be widespread. Because understand, it only takes, 1 or 2 trees to bring down a main transmission line, and now you take out a whole city. So it's certainly plausible that we could see some widespread power outages right through southwest Alabama, up into central Alabama, and up into east Alabama and west Georgia. The area that you see there in red is the likely category of where there will be some power outages. And then the area in orange, power outages are possible. And I got to give Mike over at Mike's Weather Page credit for this graphic. I borrowed it from him, and so I never use anybody else's work unless I give them due credit. So thank you, Mike, over at Mike's Weather Page. SpaghettiModels.com is his website. Go over there and check him out. If you like to follow tropical stuff, he has got a fantastic website. That's all he does is tropical weather. So I invite you to go over there and take a look at his stuff as well. All right, let's look at the radar because we do have some showers and thunderstorms down along the Gulf of Mexico, moving up to the north. First, I'll tell you that those areas that you see that are in brown are the areas that are covered by the Tropical Storm Watch that will go in effect on Wednesday and continue until it's either upgraded to a warning or canceled. Just getting a new update right there. It hadn't changed any. And then also, let me just turn the radar off for a second so you can... Yep, that wasn't what I wanted to do. Let's go over here and turn the radar off. Now we got it. All right, so the areas with the kind of the brown color is the Tropical Storm Watch area. You get down here below Montgomery and the brighter brown or orange looking color, that is a tropical storm warning that is now in effect, and that's what we've got down there on the coast. For you folks that may be down there from Fort Walton Beach all the way back over to the Mississippi state line, including the Alabama Gulf Coast, we're talking a tropical storm warning is now in effect. And then when you get over into Mississippi, we do have a hurricane warning that's now in effect from the Alabama state line all the way back to just west of New Orleans. We also have a storm surge warning that's in effect down there. That storm surge warning also comes all the way back over to around Pensacola, which includes Dauphin Island, Orange Beach, and all of the Alabama Gulf Coast also. And this entire area that you see here, for the most part, is covered by a flash flood watch, which also will go in effect tomorrow and run throughout the duration of this event. All right, so back to the radar. Let's turn the radar reflectivity back on, and I'll zoom up a little bit. And you can see that we already have some showers and thunderstorms streaming up from the Gulf of Mexico. This is the warm front that is going to be coming up first, and we'll see showers and thunderstorms continue. I don't anticipate anything severe along this warm front, though we do have some lightning taking place in this cell just to the east of Montgomery. Down there around Tuskegee, just south of Auburn, back over to Wetumpka is the leading edge of it, and it's moving directly to the north. And I have seen a couple of flashes of lightning within this storm. Now, we're losing the heat of the day, and this is a warm front moving north, so I would think that this stuff is probably going to start weakening as it moves to the north. but it will make it into East Alabama. So you folks in Lee County, you got some showers knocking on your door. It'll move on up into Tallapoosa County. As a matter of fact, we've already got rain down there at Tallahassee, and then that will continue lifting north throughout the evening. But that's nothing to be concerned about right there. Zoom out, and let me turn on this one. And let's start that loop so we can kind of see what's going on out there with the storm. Wait a minute. Let's try that a different way. Okay, well, that's being contrary. But anyway, you see where the storm's at. It's down here in the central Gulf of Mexico. And so this is the outer feeder band, the outermost feeder band. Again, understand this stuff up here that's moving up into Alabama right now is a feeder band. I mean, not a feeder band, but a warm front. The outer feeder band is still way down here in the Gulf of Mexico. So this stuff up here, not an issue. And then this will continue to move to the north and eventually to the northeast as the storm moves up. And that will eventually get the Gulf Coast regions of Alabama and Mississippi and Florida, and then move on up into central Alabama, probably by noon or maybe shortly after noon on your Wednesday. And then the stuff that we've got to really be concerned about is all of this activity down here right around the eye of the storm. I know that doesn't look very big looking at it like it is right now, but I gotta tell you, this is that's a big body of water down there to kind of put things in perspective. So it is a rather big storm. Here we go with the loop. This is the Futurecast. This is the Southern Union State Community College Futurecast that we're looking at now. And you see there landfall right around Grand Isle, and then it continues right on up over New Orleans, and then right over southern Mississippi. And then here we go into West Alabama, just to the south of Birmingham, maybe up there to around Anniston, right over my house, and then continuing off to the northeast. And should be completely out of here. Let me go back and let's dissect this thing so we can get some timing going on here. Now this is a radar estimate. Now this is not exactly what's going to happen, I am sure, but this will get you in the ballpark on the timing. So the eye should start making landfall right there. That would be at about 5:35. So we'll say between 5 and 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. We'll start to see landfall taking place down there in Louisiana. And then the eye, or what's left of the eye, will start moving into southwest Alabama around 1:30 Thursday morning. And then the heaviest rain, I think, and the worst weather should start approaching East Alabama around 3 o'clock on Thursday morning. And then what's left of the center of circulation should pass over Anniston or thereabouts right around sunrise on Thursday morning, somewhere around 6 to 7 a.m. Then the heavy rains move into northeast Georgia, northwest Georgia by 6:30. Then out of northeast Georgia, I think, by mid-morning on Thursday. And then maybe a few more showers throughout the day on Thursday, just scattered stuff, though. Won't be a big deal. And then maybe some wraparound moisture from the low pressure center, not the hurricane, which will swing through Tennessee. And we could see a little scattered shower or two there, even into Friday morning. But I think by Friday afternoon we go mostly sunny, and high school football is looking good right now. I don't see any problems at all with high school football. So that's pretty much what we're looking at right there with the storm. So, having said all of that, get the chat pulled back up so I can see it. Gonna put the radar back on.
Searching.
There we go. All right, give me just a minute to get this back up. Okay. So, again, if you're just tuning in, I'll go back through all the weather in just a few moments, summarize it for you. But if you're just joining us, be sure you comment down there in the comment section so that I know you're here. I don't know that you're here unless you comment and tell me so, and I'd love to see where you're watching from. And what I'm going to do now is go back to the beginning and kind of scroll through all the comments, answer any questions that you may have, and now's a good time to post if you want to post something or if you got something to say. All righty. Hey, Deborah Tesh. Yeah, we're going to bring it on. It's coming. Ain't a whole lot we can do about it now. All right, there's Belinda watching us over in Goodwater, Alabama. Over in Coosa County. Well, there's little John boy. Russell Kirby's watching us from Roanoke. Kevin and I believe that's Stephanie Williams watching in Ashland, Alabama. Kathy Maxwell from Ozark, Alabama. Hey, Miss Kathy, good to see you again. Cindy Lou. Robin Bayless. Robin's saying she hopes that we don't run out of Greek alphabet. Well, we're close. We're getting there. Yes, it is 2020. I mean, it just doesn't cease to amaze me. Tropical storm watch in the North Georgia mountains. Yeah. Linda Oates watching us down in Opelika, Alabama. Anna Cotney is in Wadley. Tiny Turner is watching us. Lynn Ledbetter over in West Georgia. We're in La Grange. Chris Hancock in Bowden, Georgia. There's Joy watching us over in Alexander City. Melissa Hughes got us turned on in Roanoke, Alabama. Well, there's Aunt Lou down in Selma. Now, look. You need to get all your yard stuff in because it's going to get a little windy down there in Selma come Wednesday afternoon and into Thursday morning. So, get all your stuff up out of the yard. Get them flowers inside. I know you got flower pots sitting all over the front porch. Get it in. You'll be all right. Let's see here. There's Mike O'Hara in Murray County, Georgia. Well, hello, Mike. We are practically neighbors. I'm in White County, Georgia. Johnny Shaw's watching us in Roanoke. Rosemarie McDaniel in Noonan, Georgia. There's Lisa in Roanoke. Cody is watching us also in Roanoke. There's Chris Head in the Lime community. Almost in the middle of nowhere. I know where Lime's at. Cindy Lou is in Lineville. Mel Longshore Richardson's watching us in Roanoke. Teresa Stovall is in Rock Mills. Lisa Ackles is in Wedowee. Bobby Smith is in Dothan, Alabama. Down there in the Wiregrass, peanut capital of the South. I lived in Dothan one time. I actually worked for WTVY. Lived in Enterprise and also Daleville. Actually, I didn't live in Dothan. I lived in Webb, Alabama. I know Bobby knows where Webb's at. That's where the station used to be back in the day. Sharon's watching us in Woodland. Chris McCool watching from Roanoke. There's Sharon. She's watching us from Alexander City. Daryl Tucker's in Smith Station, Alabama. Sharon Yarborough's in Huntsville. Hello, Huntsville, Alabama. I got a good friend that a business associate of mine who is about to move to Huntsville. Darlene Head is in Franklin, Georgia. Used to be a fine seafood eating establishment over there on the river in Franklin, Georgia, over there on the Chattahoochee. Ate a pound of shrimp out of that place. Jimmy Stevens in Malone. There's Bobby Smith. Chambers County, Fredonia, Alabama. I know right where it's at. Ben and Ashley Bailey's watching us from Ashland. Alan Overton, Roanoke. Dana Robertson. Hey, Miss Dana. Alan Jones in Norman Park, Georgia. I'm going to be down that way here in the not too distant future. I'm supposed to be down there. Actually, I was coming down there tomorrow. I was going to be in Tifton for a mission we were going to do over in Douglas, Georgia, but we've had to scrub that because the weather's just not going to be conducive for the training mission that we were going on. But yeah, I'm going to get down that way, and your boy up here in Athens is going to hook me up. I'm going to come shake your hand. Cassandra Doler watching in Wadley. Thank you, Cassandra. Kevin Roundtree is in Cartersville, Georgia. Bob Reed watching us this evening. Pam and Mark Johnson, Pittman, Alabama. That's in Randolph County. It certainly is. Belinda Strong is watching us. Heard it's going to get bad in Coosa County. Well, you know, it's going to get windy. And we have the possibility of a small tornado or two. I mean, we're not talking hurricane weather here by no means, but we could see winds gusting 35 to 45 miles per hour, which could topple some trees and take down some power lines. So, you know, here's what I tell everybody. The best way to prepare for something like this is to prepare as though you're going primitive tent camping. And when I say primitive, I'm talking about no cell phone service, no internet. You know, these kids don't know what that's all about. No power, no water, no nothing for 3 to 5 days. If you have everything stockpiled and prepared to get you through 3 to 5 days without any luxuries whatsoever, then you'll be just fine. Not saying you're going to be without power for that long, and I don't think that you will, but there is that possibility. So be prepared for that. That way, that's the worst case scenario, and hopefully we'll have the best case scenario, and it won't be a big deal. Deborah Gilmore is in Wedowee. Daniel Brown is watching us from Roanoke. There's my buddy Bruce. Watching in Watley, Alabama, over on the West Bank. Reba Carson's also over in Wadley. We got a lot of folks in Wadley that watch us. We appreciate that. Robin Bayless, Big Springs area watching. Well, thank you, Robin, for watching. I appreciate it. Cindy Knott's watching from Malone. Patricia Hawthorne is in Newell. Valerie McCoy, Cambits, maybe. Watching from Lynette, Alabama. There's Jackie Kimbar watching from Newell. Ruth Earl, my buddy. Well, Miss Ruth Earl, it says here that you have moved from Bud Cummins Road. Okay. Wherever you move to, just keep Dr. Don turned on. We're going to keep you updated on the weather. Nelda Smith is watching us in Pine Hill community. Marshall's got us going on in Wadley. There's Robert Downey. He is asking, what's up, buddy? Well, I'm just getting ready to make some coffee and hang out with y'all. We're going to ride this thing together as we go through the night on a Wednesday night into Thursday morning. As long as the power stays on and I have internet service, I'll be right here with you. because we got a problem with the generator. So unfortunately, we are going to be taking a huge chance without backup emergency power tomorrow evening. I can't get it to the shop. We lost power a couple of weeks ago, maybe 2-3 weeks ago. Fired up the generator. It ran for about 3 or 4 minutes, and it just went kaput. And I've done everything I know to do to it to try to fix it, and I probably made it worse. It won't run. So we're going to have to cross some fingers and hope we don't lose power tomorrow night. Let's see. Clay Denson. Molly Kate Potts in Milton, Florida. Why, hey, Chance. Been a minute since we have talked, my friend. Thank you so much for posting that. Yeah, and so what Chance has done, and if you want to scroll back up through the messages, it's there. He has posted all of our links, the link to our paypal.me, Dr. Don WX, where you can go over and support what we do. And we need all the support we can get, and we appreciate you. And it doesn't matter. Whatever you can do is perfectly fine, and we thank you. Thank you in advance. Also, there's a link there to go over to our YouTube site, our YouTube page. And here's why it's important. I know the majority of you are on Facebook, and when you like Facebook, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get notification quickly, which is what you need for weather. So the best idea is to go over to our YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on the notification bell. That way, when we go live, you'll get a push notification, which is different from the way Facebook does it. So it's important for you to do that. And ask all your friends to go like us on Facebook and ask them to go over to our YouTube page and do the same thing. Very important. You can be as big a part of this as everybody else. If you share, and ask your friends to share with their friends and their friends to share with their friends. That gets the word out there that we've got this service available, and that takes our numbers up, and that helps us. It helps you, so share it with everybody you have in your Facebook friends and also over on YouTube and any other social medium that you may be a member of. Share it with everybody. Thank you. Let's see. Pastor Craig's watching us in Swag. Jennifer Hudson's in 5 Points, Alabama. Becky Burks. Marlon Whitlow. Herbert Whitlow. Hey, Herbert. Good to see you, my friend. All right, so Cody's asking the question, is Woodland going to get smacked? Well, here's the thing about Woodland. Woodland's at a higher elevation up there in the northeast part of Randolph County. And so you do actually have a little better chance of getting some higher wind gust up there on the hill. 35 to 45 mile per hour wind gust. Heavy rainfall, but I don't think the heavy rainfall lasts for a very long period of time. I think the heaviest of the heavy rainfall probably won't last more than 3 or 4 hours. And that's going to be toward mid-morning, before sunrise Thursday. Maybe 3 to 4 a.m. Thursday morning until about 6, 7, maybe 8 o'clock Thursday morning. That's the window of opportunity for the heaviest rain, and I think the gusty winds. Certainly you're going to have rain. You're going to have rain tonight. Then you'll have scattered showers on and off tomorrow, though I think they'll be few and far between. And then mid-afternoon tomorrow, those thunderstorms may pick up a little bit. But the heaviest, the most intense, and the height of the storm itself really won't have much of an effect on East Alabama and West Georgia until after midnight tomorrow night, and probably more toward 2 or 3 a.m. And then it's only going to last for 3 or 4 hours, and then things will start calming back down again. Yeah, Chance talking about that'd be some good kite flying weather. Actually, I was supposed to go fly drones down in South Georgia on Thursday. And, yeah, that's not going to happen. Question about Huntsville, Alabama. Yeah, Huntsville, you'll probably get a little rain, but you're going to be on the good side of the storm. Because the storm's going to come up out of Mississippi right across southwest Alabama and move just between Birmingham and Montgomery. Off to the northeast, maybe move over Anniston or Gadsden, and then over into northwest Georgia, maybe around Rome or just north of Rome. So that's going to leave the Huntsville-Decatur area on the left side of the storm, or the good side. So I don't think you'll see much. You may get some rain. It could be a little breezy. There certainly will not be a threat of severe weather up there because, typically speaking, the threat of severe weather is always in the northeast quadrant of the storm. So that would be off basically between I-85 and I-59 in Alabama is where we're talking about the threat for severe weather may be. That corridor there, starting in southwest Alabama, from I-85 up to I-20, right at northeast. When you get to Birmingham, you change to I-85 in Montgomery and I-59 up in Birmingham and continue off to the northeast. In between those roads I just mentioned is where the best chance for tropical storm-force winds, heavy rain, and possibly a few small spin-up tornadoes. There's Janelle Whaley watching us from Roanoke. Deborah Williams. Thank you, Deborah. Okay, Kim, tell me which area you're talking about here, because unless you're in North Carolina. So tell me where you're at, and I'll fix that. I don't want to block where you're watching from. I want you to be able to see everything. Thank you, Belinda. This is what I do. This is my passion. I love it. All right, look here. Glenn's watching us from Jack-O-Lantern Lane Pumpkin Patch in Lafayette, Alabama. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, Mike's in North Murray County, Georgia. Jennifer Sharman, 5 points. Joey Peters, Enterprise. Hey, Enterprise. All right, so I got a little trivia question for you. What is Enterprise, Alabama known for, other than Sessions peanut oil? Doom, 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 doom. It is the only known city in the world who has a monument to an insect. That is correct. Enterprise, Alabama has a monument to a boll weevil. And the reason they worship the boll weevil is because that part of Alabama used to grow cotton. That's all they grew down there. And then the boll weevil came along and destroyed the cotton crops. This was back in the day. A couple of weeks before I lived down there anyway. So the boll weevil comes along and destroys all of the cotton crops in South Alabama. And so they were forced, you see where I'm going. They were forced to start growing peanuts. And ended up being much, much more profitable than cotton. Now, there's still a lot of cotton grown down there, but that is the peanut capital of the Southeast down there in Enterprise, back over toward Dothan, down in that area of the state of Alabama. So you learned something tonight. Well, let's see what else we got going on here. Lots of folks in Woodland. There's Cam Humphreys in Phoenix City. And so Cam's asking the question, will Auburn and Phoenix City be in the path? No, you won't be in the path of the eye of the storm. Now, you could see some heavy thunderstorms down there. You got some moving through tonight. They're not severe. You got some storms right there along I-85. You maybe even hear a little rumble of thunder out there tonight. But the worst of the weather, I think, as far as the storm itself, is probably going to stay north of I-85. So I think Phoenix City and Auburn Opelika will be fine, other than you could have a stray severe thunderstorm. Again, this would be on Wednesday late in the afternoon or Wednesday night into Thursday morning. Angie Bass is in Roanoke. Mike Felder. Thank you, Mike. Chet Adams is in Thibodaux, Louisiana. Cool. Welcome to our program, Louisiana, and we feel for you. This is the 5th named storm. If indeed Zeta does make landfall, this will be the 5th named storm to make landfall in the state of Louisiana this year. It's just crazy. It will be the 6th named storm to affect the weather in the state of Alabama. I've been doing this for a minute, and I don't remember having this many in one year. But now, if you remember, the National Hurricane Center told us to expect this. They said it was going to be an above-average year. And that's about the only thing that's gone right this year. Their prediction was correct. There, Christy watching Opelika War Eagle. War Eagle to you, Christy. We're going to fix it. We are going to fix it. I've had to live over here in Georgia with all these dogs. So y'all be thinking about me. There's Kyle and Laura watching us over in Habersham County. Habersham is one of my counties. And Habersham took about anywhere from 8 to 12 inches of rain a couple of weeks ago when Delta moved through and did a tremendous amount of damage in Habersham, White, Northern Hall, Banks, and Rabun counties of northeast Georgia. And here we go again. But now, I'll say this, I don't expect anything like that in this round. I think the wind gust of 35 to 45 miles per hour is much more of a threat than any flooding rains. So that's the good news for you folks over in Habersham who are still trying to dig out from Delta. It was just a mess. I spent a week over there after that happened. Washed out every culvert they had. Now I'm talking throughout the entire county. It was bad. Morning Dove is in Asheville. Let's see here. Who else we got going on? I'm going to run down the weather for you again. We'll recap everything in just a few moments. I just wanted to go through and make sure that I don't miss any questions. Yeah, Mike is saying good night. I'm not going to hang in here long tonight because I fully expect to be up with you all night tomorrow night. So, yeah, I'm fixing to go away and get some rest. We are in live broadcast mode now. So there will not be a primetime forecast tonight, and there most likely will not be a primetime forecast tomorrow. Now, I will be posting information as we get it from the Hurricane Center on Facebook, and then I will be going live as needed tomorrow night into Thursday morning. So that's kind of what the thinking is right now. Sandy Knight's watching us down there in Lynette. Winder George is in the house. Thank you, Doug. Yeah, Brittany says that she lives in Omaha, that's in Randolph County, and she works at Cheaha State Park. Well, what a cool job, Brittany. You gotta love that. That's a beautiful place. And she's wondering what to expect the driving conditions to be the next couple of days. I would expect there to be some problems on top of the mountain. There could be some trees down. It certainly will be windier at the top of the mountain than it will be in Omaha, though you live up on the east side of Randolph too, where the elevation is a little bit higher. So you could easily see wind gust up to 45 miles per hour there in Omaha. And on top of Mount Cheaha, we may see some higher wind gust. Of course, if you're up on top of the mountain, you're used to that, and things are secured a little better up there because of that. The higher you go in elevation, the higher the winds are going to be. So I would certainly call ahead and check before you drive up after the storm moves through. All right, Lamar is in Atlanta, and he's saying that he expects rain, flooding, and wind. Yeah, I know. Glenn Burns, I've been watching him. I'm not so sure about the flooding. Well, let me put that in perspective for you. We could certainly see some street-level flooding. Now, that primarily means ponding on the roadways. It means temporary flash flooding in low-lying areas like when you go under an underpass, if there's a dip under that underpass, where water will pool, it doesn't drain very well. Yes, we certainly could see some small isolated areas of that type of flooding. River flooding, no, I don't expect it because we're only looking at, on the low end 2 inches, on the high end 4 inches, and that's being a little overdoing it, I think, because the storm's moving so fast. But 2 to 4 inches of rain, even though it may fall in a 3 to 4, maybe a 5-hour time span, certainly could cause some street-level flash flooding. But it's probably not going to cause any major issues with river flooding, which is what really causes major problems. Of course, that's not true. That's just not true. Any flooding in the city of Atlanta is going to cause a problem. When you start backing up 285 and the connector with any kind of flooding, whether it's a 1/8 of an inch or 8 feet, it's going to cause a problem in Atlanta. But you get the gist of what I'm trying to say. This is not going to be, once this storm is done and Zeta's out of here, Zeta's not going to be known for flooding. Zeta's going to be known for taking down trees across central Alabama, east Alabama, west Georgia, and from Atlanta north. And there will be power outages, I'm afraid, unless the storm deteriorates quicker or slows down. Now, if the storm slows down, that would decrease the wind threat and increase the rain threat. So you got to take one of them. You either got to take the wind or the rain. This is not going to be both. Let's see. Yeah, I know we won Saturday, Christy. My nerves can't take much more of that. I think I've chewed my nails down to the quick. But the Georgia game and the South Carolina game were brutal. I just got to tell you. And unfortunately, I live in East Georgia, which means I have to deal with the dogs, and I'm real close to South Carolina. So I have several people that are Gamecocks as well. So don't you think I hadn't been hearing it. Joey's asking about Enterprise. You're going to get some scattered showers and thunderstorms there, Joey, but the bulk of the storm stays to your west. We certainly could see some heavy thunderstorms during the day Wednesday, and you could see an occasional severe thunderstorm warning and maybe even a tornado warning down there in Coffee County. But the center of circulation will stay well off to your west. Oh, I see what you're saying, Kim. She said when I was showing the radar earlier, it was covering up. When I zoomed in real tight. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll have to work on that. I'll fix it. The boll weevil. That is correct. Raining now. It certainly is. Let me show you that. Let's just go down here to East Alabama. And let's pause the radar right there. So we have rain now. Okay, Y'all got to cooperate with me. There we go. All right, so we do have rain from north of Columbus up there around Pine Mountain, back across Harris County, back over into Lee County, right there at the Opelika exit off of I-85. That's moving north. So you folks up there in northern Harris, eventually up there in Troop, over there in eastern Chambers County, it's moving north. It's coming right at you. There's a little break in it, and then it picks up again and goes all the way back over to just south of Alexander City. All of this is moving north. So you folks in Tallapoosa, Chambers, Harris, Troop, Hurd, Randolph, Clay, Talladega, even up into Cleburne County, you're going to get some showers tonight. But again, this is not severe. And this is the warm front that's lifting up off the Gulf of Mexico. So things are going to turn more humid behind the warm front. This has been the MO all year long. Every tropical system we've had has pushed a warm front north. And then cold front out west becomes a major influence on the storm itself and pushes it off to the northeast. And that's exactly the setup we've got going on this time as well. Tim is in the Providence community. Clay Dean watching us from Dadeville over in Tallapoosa. Don Knight watching us down in Auburn. Thank you, Chance. I appreciate that vote of confidence, my friend. Well, there's my buddy 103, Mr. Michael Cofield. Thanks, Cofield. I appreciate that, buddy. Miss y'all. Bill Tucker's watching us in Carrollton, Georgia. Joey and Sherry Truitt in Roanoke, talking about the winds up a little bit. Yeah, that's that warm front approaching from the south. And Rebecca Smith is in Hartford. Now, are you talking about Hartford down there below Dothan? That's the only Hartford I know of. And that's in peanut country down there as well. All right, so we've gone through there's Miss Latricia. She's watching us in Roanoke out there on Cody Road. Michael Mazzarchi, that's another one of my Georgia boys up in Rabun County. Yeah, he really likes to see the rain. He has several lakes in his county. And I'm not going to call any names, but a particular power provider likes to open floodgates on those lakes. Headache. That's part of living there, though. Okay, so Rebecca's saying yes. Hartford, Alabama. Cool. Let's see. Gosh, I knew a guy. What was his name? He worked at WTV while he was from Hartford. Oh, it just left me. I had it there for just a second. This was back in the mid-'80s when I was down there. He's from Hartford. Maybe it'll hit me in just a few minutes. Okay, so let's just kind of step through this again right quick for you folks who are late joining us. I'm going to summarize what we're looking at, and then we're going to wind this up for the evening. So let's go back. There's the latest satellite shot of Zeta, just north of the Yucatan Peninsula there in the Bay of Campeche, moving off to the north-northwest. The storm is expected to turn more to the north and eventually to the northeast. There's the latest track. That will change again at 11 p.m. this evening, but I don't anticipate much of a change. The models have really honed in on this thing, and I like that track right there. We're talking landfall somewhere between 5 and 7 p.m. Wednesday evening, somewhere around Grand Isle, Louisiana. And then by 1 a.m. Thursday morning to a point there north of Mobile over in southwest Alabama. And then continuing to move off to the north and northeast, maybe over Anniston, and then across northwest Georgia into the daylight hours on Thursday morning. And that is going to bring a tremendous amount of wind and for a couple of 2 or 3 or 4 hours, some pretty heavy rainfall and the threat of severe thunderstorms with the possibility of small spin-up tornadoes. The thing about the wind and the reason it's going to make it so far inland this time is because of the forward motion of the storm. We're probably looking at somewhere between 18 and 22 mile per hour forward motion after making landfall. So the storm makes it well inland before it has time to start deteriorating. If it was creeping along at 2 to 3 miles per hour, it'd fall apart way before it got up into central Alabama. But it would also be dumping a ton of rain. So you'd have a flooding threat in that scenario. But in this scenario, we're going to see a forward speed, pretty rapid forward speed of anywhere between 18 to 22 miles per hour. So the storm doesn't have time to deteriorate, but it won't dump a tremendous amount of rain. But the bad thing about it is it's going to take down some trees. Well, when trees come down, they take down power lines. And we all know what happens when the power lines come down. And so we could be looking at some widespread power outage. That area in purple there from Grand Isle, Louisiana, all the way up through southern Mississippi, southwest Alabama, through central Alabama, east Alabama, and up into west Georgia, maybe all the way over to Atlanta. We're talking widespread outages are likely. Then that red area, outages are likely. And then the orange area, outages are possible. So prepare accordingly. What I like to tell everybody is prepare for a 3 to 5 day primitive camping trip. And when I say primitive, I'm talking about living in a tent, or maybe not even a tent, a sleeping bag under the stars. No water, no electricity, no cell phone, no internet, no nothing. That's what you need to prepare for. That's the worst case scenario. So if you prepare for that, then whatever Mother Nature throws at us, you should be okay. All right, so once again, what we're going to do is we're going to our live coverage mode here. So we will not be doing our primetime forecast, which is what we normally produce every single day. What we'll be doing now is posting information updates as we get them from the Hurricane Center on Facebook, and then going live as needed tomorrow night into Thursday morning to cover this thing for you. So make sure that you, number one, have liked Dr. Don's weather page. Make sure that you've gone over to our YouTube channel and subscribed to Dr. Don's YouTube channel and liked it and click that little notification bell so that when we go live with information, you'll get a notification that we're going live. Facebook doesn't always give you those notifications timely. YouTube does. It's a push notification. It works differently. So go over there and do that, and then we'll meet back here as need be to get you through this. Also, please don't forget to help us out if you can. Go to paypal.me/Dr. Don WX. We appreciate your support. That helps us continue to be able to do this. We've been doing it now for a little over a year and a half with our live streaming, and we want to continue. But we need your help to be able to do that. So please go to paypal.me/Dr. Don WX. It is secure. You do not have to have a PayPal account to do this. It takes just a few seconds, and anything you can do to help us out, we certainly do appreciate it. All right, folks, good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. We'll see you back in here on Wednesday evening as we continue to watch Hurricane Zeta headed for Louisiana and eventually Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia on Dr. Don's weather page.